Good evening, folks. It's your man Donald King. I'm here to do my thing. How y'all doing tonight? You good? You good? Let's see. Am I center? Am I center of the camera here? Wait, let me try and organize it just right. Anyway, how y'all doing tonight, man? I hope everybody is doing good. Interesting. Let me see. Got it. So yeah, I guess apparently my Facebook live stream is giving me additional information on the front end of getting started with the podcast tonight. It was a nice day today, man. The weather was beautiful. It's quite lovely, especially for winter, February. It's not quite spring yet, but the days are a little bit longer, and well, it wasn't so cold, and you're thankful for, thankful for everything, man. It's funny. It's like, I was trying to settle on what I was going to talk about tonight. I had it in my mind earlier that I was going to talk about this subject, and I guess I can touch on it briefly. I'm constantly saying that it's like, I have a strong contempt for cowardice, and social media, it gives people opportunities to passively aggress against others, and it's like the point that I was making, it had to do with a meme that was the meme had like Diddy in it holding a like amongst a bunch of laugh emojis, and it's always that one person who comes along and who tries to be disruptive. And I think that there was some confusion on what I was talking about. I don't mind if somebody comes along on my post and they add a like in a sea of hearts. I don't take personal offense to it at like just directly coming towards me. I hate when people do it in general. Like if you see something that is only heart worthy or only like funny, if you see it's funny and you know it's funny and you go out of your way to be a disruptive prick, it's because you have aggression within you. It's an attempt to aggress. It doesn't have anything to do with my personal feelings and beliefs. And I think a lot of people think that I take personal issue to someone coming along and putting likes on my videos or on my posts. And I don't care if you put likes on my posts or any of those other things. It's the reason why you do it. And it's not directed towards me. It's towards anyone. You can be in a group that is, like I'm in a group that is exclusively for shit talk content. It's a place where I can go and just let my hair down and just be wild and crazy. But it's just funny memes. Just funny memes in this forum. And then you have one or two aggressive beta assholes come along and they'll add a like on something that has 20, 30 laughs on it because it's fucking hilarious. They're not doing that because they were like, oh, you know what? It just didn't live up to my standard. And even if they were doing it because it didn't live up to their standard of comedy. My brother Levi. What's good, Candace? Yo, my people are in the house. But, yo, it's like when you're being an aggressive asshole or a passive aggressive asshole, when you're being a passive aggressive asshole, you're being aggressive. You're not like giving an honest answer. You're not giving an honest feedback. You're not giving an honest reply to something that was intended to make you laugh. You're there to aggress against someone, but do it in a way that's very subtle, flies under the radar. Oh, I gave it a like, and it's kind of like someone trying to play a prank on you. You know what I'm saying? A prank is literally someone trying to aggress against you under the guise of a joke. Oh, I'm just playing with you. No, the fuck you're not. You're trying to hurt me. You're trying to do something to disrupt my state of being. You're being aggressive, but you're trying to mask it so that I can't be mad at your attempts to aggress against me. And I don't take personal offense to people doing this to me per se. I hate the fact that it's cowardly and people do it in general. Cowards love weapons. Cowards love weapons, and anything they can get their grubby little hands on, first thing they're going to try to do is turn it into a weapon to devalue someone else with, to injure or subdue someone else with. It's cowardly. I'm pissed at the cowardice, not the like. And I just want to make that abundantly clear. I'm pissed at the cowardice, not the emoji. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, one of my homeboys, he was saying that's like, yo, hey, I go around and if I see something that I found amusing, but it's like I didn't find it up to the par of, my own sense of comedy, if it didn't make me laugh out loud, then I'll put a like on it. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, even in the midst of like 68 laugh emojis, one person comes along, is like, no, I'm just gonna put a like. If it didn't live up to, or it didn't inspire you in such a way to validate the creator's intention, why not just scroll past? Why not just be like, yo, hey, it didn't move me in that way. I got a chuckle, but not enough to toss my Facebook currency at it. Why not just scroll past it? Why must the person say, hey, you know what? Here's an opportunity to make my contempt heard, or to make my dissatisfaction heard. It's aggression. It's aggression. Regardless of how you try to paint it, it's an attempt to aggress against someone. And I hate passive aggression across the board. I hate when people try to sneak diss people. You know what I'm saying? When they try to talk past you. People do this shit to me all the time. They try to talk past me and say, oh, well, how would you feel if, someone had just the wherewithal to know that they thought they were above everyone else and they were talking. And I know they're trying to indirectly like target me with words. And I just play along like, So you just couldn't come straight out and just be like, yo, I think you bugging, Donald. No, you had to go round and round, the ring around the rosy. You had to go round and round trying to create a frame that you think would paint me into a corner where I would basically condemn a type of behavior that you feel applies to me. Instead of just being direct with me, you would try that cowardly approach. What the fuck? It's cowardly. It's cowardly. And it's like, here's the thing about it. If you're going to aggress directly. If you're going to do the chest stumping and thing, don't do that shit behind my back, dog. Bring it to my face. And not just me, but everybody. Don't be a coward. Like if you have it in you that you need to transfer your aggression into someone else, be about it. Be fucking about it. Don't, oh, I'm going to do a sneak diss. It's weak. It's pathetic. Anywho, let me see. Hey, Miss Candace, what's good? Let me see. Humor, innocuousness is the perfect vehicle for cowardly passive aggression. Absolutely, I know what you mean. And it's like if it's obvious that I put something out there to be funny or to get a laugh, then if you're not moved to give that reaction, or you're not moved to give that reaction, what would be your point or motivation for giving any other reaction? That's exactly the point. That's exactly the point. You nailed it. If they can't elicit the action from you that you feel that you knew that they were going for, why are you going to put another one out there? It's to make your contempt. It's to make your dissatisfaction known. It's steering attention away from the object in question and directing it towards yourself. It's kind of like going into a comedy club. It's going into a comedy club and heckling the comedian on stage. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know what? Everybody in the crowd is laughing. Everybody in the crowd is laughing. And then one person's like, I mean, you're all right. You cool. And then they're like, yo, man, I've been practicing this shit for a minute, and the person's like, you cool, you all right. And you're making it about, the heckler is making the show about them and not the show. So now everybody in the audience is stuck between this thing that they paid for, that motherfuckers actually put work into developing, and this one person who's like, no, let me make this about me. It's too much. It's too much. Just fall back. Scroll past. It's not hard. Anywho, yo, let me get to the point of my my podcast tonight. Yo, I wanted to talk about the subject of humility versus honesty, right? And this is a very important subject because there's a lot of people out here who are of the impression that humility is an attribute. I like to make distinctions between humility and reality and or cognizance and social humility. All right? These are two completely different things. In society, you're expected to be humble. And by humble, I mean you're expected to be small so as not to offend other people's egos and or identities. Pardon me. You're expected to play small, to pretend like you're supposed to walk with your head down so as not to let anyone feel offended by your potency. Right? So it's like, I want you to watch like a sports, like let's just say you watch Sports Center, or like you watch any sort of news program wherein these athletes are talking about their performance during a game. You know what I'm saying? Well, we just we had to play hard as a team, and it's like, you know what? It's like, I feel that we could have done better, and it's like, they gave us a great effort and all these other things. And these are people who just won. They just prevailed, and in order to be good people, they have to pretend to be small in their victory. That's humility in society. Humility is feigning smallness for others so as not to offend their fragile egos. Narcissists love trying to make other people humble for them. The majority of the people who I interact with online, especially those who come to me with aggression, what they really want me to do is humble myself for them. You're too sure of yourself. Have you checked with the authorities? Translation: did I give you permission to be confident? Did someone give you permission to be confident? Did someone give you permission to perform well? That's what's expected in society. You're expected to get permission to be what, how, and who you are. Conversely, when you get into reality has absolutely nothing to do with authority, right? In reality, ability determines everything. Ability determines everything. So you don't have to check with anything in reality to be what, how, and who you are. But if you're cognizant of reality and you're conscientious, then you understand that you are never the best. And you cannot be the best at anything. Ever. You could be the fastest man on record. Doesn't mean you're the fastest man ever. You could be the smartest man in books. It doesn't mean that you're the smartest person ever. You could be the tallest person on record, and that doesn't mean you're the tallest person to have ever lived. When you're cognizant of reality, when you're conscientious, you're humble. When you're honest, honesty and conscientiousness, they go hand in hand. Honesty and conscientiousness go hand in hand. And I want you to remember this. Honesty is the individual's will and effort to recognize, be cognizant of, and to sync up with reality. When you sync up with reality, you have no time for self-idealizing. Self-idealizing, like fucking flexing and ego tripping and shit like that, that only happens in idealism. It only happens in idealism. So it's like, in reality, you can be well aware of the fact that you perform above average in a wide variety of ways, but you are also keenly aware of the fact that it doesn't make you better than anyone, and it doesn't mean that you're the best. In society, you're supposed to be small. Be small for other people. Don't offend people. Pretend like you're little so that you don't trigger them. Pretend like you're little so you don't trigger people. Like I said before, narcissists go around trying to make other people be small for them, be humble for them. They step into any conversation trying to assert authority, trying to knock somebody down so that the other people know their place. Cowardly ideologues, aggressive betas. They're all one and the same. Narcissists. Narcissistic, competitive, and aggressive. Be small for me. Be humble for me. I have to compete against you. I have to defeat you. I have to put you in your place. I'm Vegeta. I'm the Prince of all Saiyans. Aggressive beta. Let's see. Yeah, so I thought I had some more comments down there. But the point that I'm making is simply this. In reality, there's no need to feign humility. There's no need for humility at all. Ability determines what you can and cannot do. If you think that you can run faster than someone, there's no need to believe it. You simply get out and you test it in reality. If you believe that you're smarter than someone, there's no need to believe it. If you feel that way, then you test it in reality. In reality, the only thing that matters is ability. Chances are you're never going to be the very best, and you're never going to be the very worst. You know, it's funny. A couple days ago, I posted a picture underneath a picture I posted a few weeks back, where I took a topless photo of myself after doing my exercise leading up to the beginning of the year, because it's like top of January. I like to do a sort of, what do you call it, a 30-day challenge to like get the year started right. Like, hey man, let's get your body together. I'm going to do this. This is the results that I get. I mean, like, hell, this might be something you want to look into. I took a picture with my shirt off, right? Oh, he's thirst trapping. Oh, he's so full of himself. Just a few days back, I posted a picture beneath that picture showing what I looked like after I went vegan again for 3 weeks. For 3 weeks after I took that earlier photo, in which my definition came in a little bit more and I slendered down a bit. Oh, he's so full of himself. Oh, he thinks he's so great. Now, mind you, my profile picture, the profile picture I have up now is either 3, 4, or 5 years old. I don't take pictures of myself often. I take a picture like before last year when I took a small Instagram video where I was showing my results after doing my 30-day, 100-day burpee challenge, right? Before that, those three images constitute the entirety of shirtless photos I've taken online, that I've put online since 2012, when my ex-wife took pictures of me on the beach down in Mexico when we were on our honeymoon, right? Go figure. Oh, you think you're so great? Humble yourself for me, Donald King. So I barely take any pictures of myself, except for when I'm taking pictures with my friends. You don't see me going around here flexing and taking shirt off pictures every week or posting them. You don't see me in the gym or any of those other things. Like, I don't do those things. I'm not self-idealism now. I don't ego trip off myself like that, right? But all it took was 2 images this year to make everybody think, or not everybody, but a lot of people think that it's like I'm out here feeling myself. with nothing to base it on. Humble yourself for me, Donald King. Stay covered up for me, Donald King. It's wild. You don't see me out here doing any of that stuff. You don't see me out here every day or two posting a new picture of myself online. You don't see me doing that. Period. You don't. But somehow, 2 pictures of me with my shirt off get people all in a frenzy. You think you're better than people? Fuck out of here, man. Let me see. Candace came in. Let me see. Don't offend people so you don't trigger people. Trigger any. Let me see. Oh, man, come on. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. There we go. All right. Let me see. Don't offend people so you don't trigger people. Trigger any competition. Hold up any mirror that doesn't reflect and or expose their inflated senses of self. Exactly. That's it. You can't, there's nothing that you can do to not offend a narcissist. Unless you're telling a narcissist, you're the best, you're the greatest, everybody should worship you, they're always going to be like, you're full of yourself. You know what I'm saying? Your next point was, you honestly don't take pictures of yourself often. People don't think that maybe there's some shyness or insecurities that you have to overcome to even put those pics up. Kind of insensitive. And that's actually the truth. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just going to just be 100% blunt about it, man. I got body dysmorphia. When I was growing up, I was constantly told that I was stupid and I was ugly. This was the common narrative. So when I look in the mirror a lot of times, I don't see what other people see. I see all of my flaws first. I see all the ways I'm imperfect and undesirable first. I could be standing next to a dude who is 300 pounds or 400 pounds, and I'll see all the good things in him and all the shitty things in me based on how I came up, through all the trauma that I came up in. And that's a hard thing to overcome. When you sit here and you have to deal with knowing that you're always going to see your flaws and frailties first, it's hard to overcome. You know what I'm saying? When I put that picture up, the first one up, well, a lot of people don't know the only reason why I put it up is because I was scared to. I showed it to one of my homegirls. I was like, yo, it's like, look, I haven't shown anybody this, and don't laugh at me, and don't show anybody. And it's like, I sent it over to her, man, because it's like we were just having a nice, friendly, cool ass conversation. You know what I'm saying? And we were just talking about our personal frailties and our insecurities. And, I'm sending this picture over like, yo, hey, man, this is what I look like now. This is how my body has changed through the years. And I'm sitting here and I see my obliques and I see my abs don't look filled in and shit like that. And I'm like, God damn, man, it's like I look a mess. I look a mess. That's what I saw. Everybody out here thinking that it's like, I'm up here like, look at me. And the reason I put it up is because I didn't want anybody to look at me. That was legit self-conscious, dog. And still people wanted me to be humble for them. Be small for me. The majority of the people who interact with me online, they try to direct me to resources. Read this. Read this. They say what you're trying to say. No, the fuck they don't. They never do. Convention cannot keep pace with me. And this isn't self-idealizing. I've tested it, and more importantly, I welcome any proof or discovery someone has to present to me to say otherwise. The frames that I speak in, the principles that I describe, they can take all of convention, fit them into a tiny, tiny corner, and have universes worth of room to spare. I make sense And I can't take personal credit for it. Again, I'm hosting an entity, and the entity lets me see reality in real time, cleanly and efficiently. But at the end of the day, people come to me, Donald King, you need to study this, you need to study that. And I know that they're always trying to assert authority. They're always trying to make me fit into their inner story, trying to make me subject to their sense of order, will, and righteousness. Humble yourself for me, Donald King. You speak too confidently. Respect authority. Respect their authority, or better yet, more importantly, respect my authority by proxy of their authority. Humble yourself to me. And I'm like, no, in reality, ability says everything that needs to be said. Truth says everything that needs to be said. Fuck authority. I'm not going to be small for you. I'm not going to pretend like I don't understand for you. I'm not going to cover myself up for you. You're a narcissist. You're a raging narcissist to think that it is your place to go around telling other people to be small so you can feel big. Are you fucking insane? It's wild. People go around telling others, you need to make yourself small for me. Only a narcissist goes around trying to make other people humble for their amusement and satisfaction and or for their benefit. I have to devalue this. I have to knock this down a peg. Which goes back to my earlier point. It goes back to my earlier point about going around and doing something as simple as disrupting a wave of consensus. Let me make this about me. I wasn't up to it. It didn't live up to my taste. Narcissist. How do narcissists behave? Aggressively and competitively. I want you to think about this. And I was in the store a little bit earlier, and I'm going down an aisle, and all of a sudden this person just cuts across the aisle and sits right in the middle of the aisle on their fucking phone. Just ignorant of everything going on around them because everything fell to their interest. And it was a perfect analogy for how a virion performs within a body. It's a perfect analogy. If you sit here and you tell this person, excuse me, you don't have to be that aggressive, narcissistic, self-indulgent, completely ignorant to what's going on around them, devoid of conscientiousness. Then all of a sudden you try to go around and then they want to compete. Think about just a virion in any body. Think about a disease in any body. The body is like a descendant agent to speak to the virion. It's like, yo, you're out of sync with the body. Get out of your inner story. Get out of your inner programming. Pay attention to, observe the mechanism of the body and sync up with it. How would you expect a virion to respond to that directive coming from a body? It's going to do what you would expect one of the Mucinex germs to do. Not just the Mucinex germs, but any germ. It's going to be like, you sync up with the body. I know all about the body. It's going to try and compete against the body saying, yo, you're out of sync with me. You pay attention. You do this. All that aggression, all that hostility. And the only thing it has to do is observe, oh yeah, shit, I am out of sync with the body. I am moving by and according to my inner programming. Let me ditch this programming because it's making me corrupt. And let me sync up with the programming of the body. Is that what viruses do? Nah, they keep competing. All the way until they destroy the host they live in and depend on for survival, and then they die right along with the host. Virion. Narcissistic, aggressive, competitive. The disease is literally competing against the body for control of the body, for supremacy, for superiority. And in the process of trying to compete against the body's programming, it ends up destroying the body and itself in the process. And this is the coding that most humans are running on. Narcissism, competition, aggression. They're the gateway through which corruption enters the soul and destroys the person. Oh, we got a couple more comments. Brother, I'm starting the word. My man. How you doing? Let me see. Is directing towards other resources similar to an appeal to authority? Kind of like, I can't defeat what you're saying, but these authorities I admire can. You just have to figure out how. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. Most people, they're just trying to shut you up. They're just trying to compete and shut you up. Hey, you're not reflecting my identity back to me. You're not reflecting the story I tell myself about the world around me and my place and value within it back to me. So I'm gonna direct you to someone who's gonna put you in your place. So fucking cowardly. It's weak. I can't take you on, so I'm gonna turn you over to someone who can. And it's like, you know what's so funny? I go head to head with these motherfuckers, and they sit here and they send me all of their information, and I'm like, okay, let's see what you got. Maybe you know something I don't. And again, it goes to the point of being like grounded in reality and conscientiousness. When you're grounded in conscientiousness, you're immediately aware of the fact that you don't know everything. Even being an avatar, I don't know everything. So I'm like, well, shit, maybe you know some shit I don't know. I go and investigate it. I don't let my pride do the thinking for me. I go and investigate it. And when I investigate it, it turns out that the frames I'm operating through, 1,000 out of 1,000 times, perform above the frames they just tried to defeat me with. But that's exactly what happens, bro. That's exactly what happens. Hey, you need to be small for me. If you're not going to be small for me and through my potency, then I'm going to direct you to someone who can beat you. It's so weak. It's weak. I'm gonna break you down, king. And it's not just me, it's everybody. Like it's like when you have these aggressive betas, these Vegetas running around trying to, I'm the prince of all Saiyans, I'm the prince of all Saiyans. This is how they do. Cowardly ideologues, aggressive parasites, narcissists, they're all one and the same. They're all one and the same. They're always trying to make you small so that they can feel big. And worse still, they commit loads and loads of logical fallacies in that pursuit because the desire to defeat you is so, it consumes them so that they can't even process information and reality correctly in their pursuit of victory. So they make all sorts of mistakes. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They're here, there, all because they need to compete. They need to win and subdue someone. Because, well, basically, they need to make you humble. They need to make you small so that they can be big. They need your identity to disappear so that theirs can roam free without worry and concern. Sister Candace jumps back in. Let me see. And in the same vein, if you post pictures of yourself being authentic and vulnerable, that would be designed, I imagine, to connect with people who have friendship energy and supportive energy towards you. So anyone who would comment that doesn't hold those energies towards you are, in a sense, doing the same thing as throwing up a like when everyone else is giving another reaction. It's still in the spirit of competition and spotlight hijacking I'm talking to tonight, but I love your podcast. I love your podcast too. I can't wait to be back on that joint. It's fire. Next time, hopefully I won't be so drunk. But yeah, it is the same thing. When someone comes around and they make themselves more important than whatever they're perceiving, and they're trying to subdue whatever it is they perceive to their own sense of potency. It's competition. It's aggression. It's narcissism. I have to make myself more important than this thing. I need the attention. Again, it's just like going into a comedy club, or it's like going into watching a movie and someone talking all through the movie and yelling at the fucking movie screen. Like, do you need attention that bad? Do you need attention that bad? You can't just fall back and appreciate the show? Or even if you don't appreciate the show, get up and leave? No, you need to make yourself known. You need to make your energy known and your experience known, so that you steer attention to yourself. It's too much. It's too much. And again, I always talk about how it deals with cowardice, but at the root of cowardice is scarcity. It's the fear of not having or being enough. The fear of not having or being enough. And a lot of times people want to go out of their way to, y'all hear me talk about cowardice a lot, and a lot of times people want to go out of their way to injure cowards. And I'm like, no, man, I'm not trying to injure you. I want to get to why you feel like you're not enough. I want to help you know that you are enough. You're going to get the attention you desire the very second you stop fighting for it. And I want to show you how. I want to show you how. Like, I don't have any desire to, I have no desire to lord it over anyone. If anything, the one thing that I want to do is, and hopefully by example, show people how to be brave in the face of uncertainty. I face uncertainty every day. Every single fucking day. And it's not in me to go out of my way to try and make other people feel the pressure I feel, so that I can alleviate myself of that pressure. I don't need to transfer it into someone else. I learned how to face and deal with it. And maybe, just maybe I can show other people how to do it too. You know? Let me see. The narcissistic, listen to me, I'm stumbling. The narcissistic entity is essentially, by way of its refusal to conform to reality, ensuring its own demise in any given system. And that is spot on. Spot on. I couldn't have said it myself. When you have to block information and reality out, when you have to block observation out, like when you have to block everything out in order to keep your inner story intact, it's only a matter of time until you destroy yourself. That's what narcissism is. Narcissism is an addiction to the identity. I talk about this a lot in my podcast, but what most people don't realize about narcissism is that it's a defense mechanism. It's a defense mechanism. And I'm saying this as a former narcissist myself. I became a narcissist because I was traumatized growing up. I found some tiny identity that I could hold up within, and it became my sword and shield. And I tried to conquer the world with it because I was scared to face reality without it. So anything that came along that enhanced my identity, I was all for it. Any information that came along and said, Donald King, you're right, I was like, yes, you get it. And anything that came along that said I was wrong, I had to defeat it. I had to destroy it. I was scared. I was scared that something would come along and break this story I told myself about the world around me and my place and value within it. I thought my identity made me strong, but it made me weak. It was this constant vulnerability hanging over my shoulders. All it took was some new information to show me something I believed prior was incorrect or incomplete, and my whole world would come crashing down. So I get narcissism at a very fundamental level. I get that it's a defense mechanism, and that all the chest thumping and the bravado and the aggressive beta shit, it's people doing what they know how to do to try to keep themselves safe. And I'm like, yo, I know you think that's the way. I know you think that's the move, but it's not. Come hang out with your boy. I'm going to get you tight for real. Like, instead of pumping your muscles with synthol and you just looking the part of a bodybuilder, nah, motherfucker, get in this gym with me. We're going to get you built up for real. Sit down here and do this emotional work with me. Do this shadow work with me. Let's unpack all that trauma. Let's sort that shit out. I'm going to get you strong for real. Why? Because I know what it's like to be weak and only appear strong. Let me see. In psychological terms, avoidance of reality in favor of preserving an inner story is known as cognitive dissonance. Super interesting how strong and intentional we can set our mental energies up to be, all for nothing in the end. And that is a beautiful sentiment. That's a beautiful sentiment. That's absolutely true. In my work, I describe cognitive dissonance and aggression as being one and the same. Okay, so cognitive dissonance, so far as I'm aware, is the and I'm gonna see if I can describe it in mechanical terms. It's that violent reaction and fearful reaction and almost the fear of death people experience whenever reality doesn't match the inner story, right? So when a person lives within their inner story and they can't tell the difference between their inner story and reality itself, that is, by how I understand it, that is you call it dementia, but also psychosis. Okay, so and you can look at that within the frame of a person being like schizophrenic, a person who cannot distinguish what's happening within the inner story from what's happening in reality. You know, it's that's a rough place to be in. It's a rough place to be in because everything is a shadow. Everything is a shadow, and the shadows have voices. All the work that I do basically serves to help people learn how to know the difference between what's happening within the internal narrative, the inner story, and what's actually happening in reality. And the way to learn how to sort these two systems out best, so far as I can tell, is by practicing reasoning and honesty. It's by practicing reasoning and honesty. I know that's what saved my mind. And but so far as I'm aware, I never dealt with any, aside from narcissism, I never dealt with any sort of mental deficiency or imbalance in that way. But I mean, every neurological disorder, so far as I'm aware, with the exception of something, well, no, those probably too, but neurological disorders, they come from a misfiring of the apperception. It's a misfiring of the apperception, and 9 times out of 10 that happens because the apperception gets caught in this sort of recursion loop, and you're like, So if your system of idealism is malfunctioning, the best way to fix it is to, one, get out of it, sync up with reality for the time being, and then use reality as a sort of calibrating device to go in and sort of fix your apperception and help make sure that the conceptual maps you formed of the world are like at least scaled to reality, if that makes sense. And hopefully I said that right. But yeah, man, this is what it boils down to. Like, you had to get away from narcissism. You had to get away from self-idealizing. You have to get away from going around trying to make other people humble themselves for you. I always say that it's in humans' best interest to get away from all things that exacerbate narcissism, which includes like belief systems and cultures and things of this nature. Anything that sort of reflects the identity back to the individual and helps them to self-idealize to the tune of blocking out reality. I always encourage people to get away from these things because it's leading them down the path of corruption, right? But it's wild how it works, man. It's wild. Like, none of this is anybody's fault. We were born into society. We went through the socialization process. The socialization process taught us to assume characters and then self-idealize. And the self-idealizing was reinforced through both systemic and domestic forms of abuse and violation. And it's just a shitstorm of conditions that led us all to this point that we're at right now. It's no one's fault that we're where we are right now, but it is our responsibility to figure out how we are right now and adjust to reality. The beautiful part about that is when you try to learn, understand, and adjust to reality, reality gives you all the tools to get right. It gives you all the tools to get right. You just have to be brave enough to set down your identity and strong enough to pick them up and use them, you know? Let me see. Shadows have voices. I'm exploring my own shadows lately, and I feel that mine are asking for acceptance and integration because all the energy I use to run and suppress them just pisses them off and weakens me in the process, LOL. When I least expect it, and at the most inconvenient times, that shadow has its day. And then it's like, oh shit, she's crazy. I identify with that way more than you know. You know what's really funny? Upon becoming Avatar, right, for this cycle, one thing I wanted to do is I looked to the OG, my predecessor, fucking Lao Tzu, right? Lao Tzu is like, yo, you have to divorce yourself from the ego. You have to divorce yourself from desire. And I'm thinking of the Buddha, my bad. But Lao Tzu, Buddha, we all teach the same basic principles. Like, even the individual the story of Jesus is based on, we pull from the same pool of principles. We see the same thing. So, but it's like, I was like, man, Buddha might be right. So it's like, I tried to divorce myself from the ego. And the funny part about that shit is, the more I divorced from the ego, is the less accessible the things I was saying were. It turns out that I need to use my ego parasite in order to translate principles into English. So I have to learn how to work with this motherfucker, not just pretend it's not there. But it can't run the show. It can't run the show. It can't be the star. In reality, in my humbling process, when God stepped in and was like, Donald King, I'm gonna show you exactly how much you know. You're an atheist, huh? Well, you just met me. What you got to say now? You're a figment of my imagination. You this, that. Narcissistic, aggressive, competitive guy was like, oh, word? Is that what it is? All right. Humble yourself. And I'm sitting here in the street like, oh God, why? The pain. God was like, you're stripped of your identity. You're stripped of all your worldly possessions. You're stripped of this. You're stripped of that. How much a genius you are now, Donald King. And I'm like, but you don't understand. I'm great. I can, a word. Now you can't do this. And I'm just sitting here like, after a while, you take so many L's before you realize like, yeah, my ego really needs some humbling, man. And it's like, I took my lessons, I took my lumps, and then I come out on the other side like this, man. I'll come out on the other side, but yeah, it's wild, man. It's wild. Like, I understand it all. I understand the process. And like I said before, going back to your last comment, I thought that I was going to be able to get rid of my ego. And I learned how to shut it up and to not let it check me, not let it control me and steer me. But I still kind of need it. kind of like you had to make peace with the shadows and the voices. I had to make peace with my ego. Like, yo, we're going to have to ride this bitch out together, bro. Let's get it done. You know what I'm saying? Brother, I'm saying the word. Let me see. Often I'm not aware of times when I disregard my identity. I sort of zone out and things happen naturally. Not sure if zone out or hyper focus is the correct term. You know what? When I enter flow state, I tend not to be aware until the effects of the identity return. Dude, I just co-signed everything that you just said. The shit was fire. The shit was fire. Yeah, that's how it happens to me as well. Like, even in these podcasts, like tonight, I wasn't even prepared to shoot. I was just like, shit, let's just see how this goes. And I try to get into flow state. When I'm in flow state, everything just sort of glows. And I have to go back and watch the podcast to see how I did. But yeah, it's like when I hit flow state, the identity is not there. And the ego is completely gone. And, you know, I'm just I don't have time to do anything but describe principles as I see them and experiences that get flashed into my mind as I see them. But, yeah, no, I concur. That's a fire assessment. That is a fire assessment. Yo, we are getting to that time, folks. I ran a little long tonight, but it's like, hey, thank y'all so much for tuning in with your boy. Yes, this is what I'm fucking talking about. This is a good thing. I have to get my phone set up so it's like we can have the call-ins and shit like that too. Again, it's like, you know, I need to build this up to a larger platform because once I'm on a larger platform, I can do this a lot more easily. And I would love to have like just regular in-studio guests and hosts and shit like that. Like, this should be fine. Like, again, I'm building this up to a larger platform. Before I cross over, let me see. Candace writes, can we divorce the ego? Like, I think the ego has its place and its purpose. I'm not so sure I want to discard it. Ideally, I'd like to adjust my relationship and relating to it, exercise dominion over it, not let it run the show. I feel like the ego is the Lord of the Shadows. Indeed, you nailed it. That's exactly what it was. And I'm going to co-sign what you just said by saying that's what it was in my experience too. At first, I thought that I was going to divorce my ego, and it turns out that nah, I need it. And the reason why is because at first, it's when I just was like doing avatar shit and I'm trying to explain these principles. Principles are not in English. They're not in English. If anything, they're not even like solid images. They're just these frames. They're just these frames where you understand how things sort of fit into them and like the mechanism of how things would function once they're fit into these frames. So if you understand the frames of natural organization and the frames of social organization, then, I mean, like, you know, then you would have avatar perspective. Now, thing is, it's like, you know, I'm sitting here and I'm describing these frames when I first became Avatar. I'm describing these frames and I'm like, yo, so the moon and the stars, they correlate to the 1 and the 5. And it's like the shit, it was so discombobulated. And, you know, it's like I had to learn how to figure out how to make this relatable. So it's like, you know, it's why I talk about my really high libido and why I like shit talk and joke and talk about the foods that I like, and went from being like pure vegan back in the day to going back to just eating regular food and even eating bad food back to vegan, man. Dude, it's a sight. Like, you have to learn how to coexist with this thing. You have to learn how to coexist with it because it's still part of me. And in order for me to be effective in explaining any of this stuff to people, I have to be relatable. So it's like I have to indulge the ego to a degree so that, I mean, shit, I'm not thinking and speaking and living above the people I'm trying to reach. If that makes sense. Yo, guys, let me see. So, y'all already know what it is. House. Yo, I'm going to post a song here that I've been singing all week. 2 weeks that I wrote called Panty Dropper. I have to post it. I have to, because it's like I can't stop singing it apparently. But anyway, I'm wild. Your boy is wild. Let me see. We have we have, y'all already know that we're shooting this on Facebook Live. I am Donald King, obviously. We're shooting this on Facebook Live. You can follow me on different platforms on social media. I am on Instagram, and I need to post there again because it's like I've gotten away from it. But, I'm also on YouTube, and I should also mention that all of these podcasts, I do upload them to my YouTube channel. So, if you want to go back and check out some of these episodes, a little bit later, they're always there. They're always available for you too. I also write and post lots of articles and content to Medium. And oh my God, I've produced so much material. Keeping track of it. I literally need a full-time staff. It's insane. Like that's why I'm trying to build this up to a larger platform, because I really need a full-time staff. And it's a lot. It's a lot. I've been rolling solo for the longest time, and I'm at the point now where, even though I'd love to do it, bring it across the finish line, I'm not so proud. I'm not so egotistical. Better yet, instead of being humble, I am cognizant and conscientious of the fact that something this big, you kind of need a crew. So that's where I'm at. Which brings us to the next part. If you guys ever want to help your boy out, you can always join the Patreon family. I am at Avatar Cycle XIII on Patreon. That's Avatar Cycle 13. Also, if you get any sort of appreciation out of what I do, and you feel like I gave you some quality content for the evening, and you just want to bless your boy with a little bit of love, you can always hit me up on Cash App at Donna King. Donnie King. All proceeds go towards building this up to a larger platform. Again, trying to reach as many people as I can before I'm out of this body. Don't know how long I'm going to be here. And, well, I want to make the best impact I can with my life. So whatever you want to do to assist to that end, you are more than appreciated. And just speaking not as Donald King, but as the Avatar right now, anything you do to help when I'm hosting be heard, it doesn't work against you. Let's just say that. Anywho, I think I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this joint up, man. I think this might be my longest podcast to date. First of all, Sister Candace, Brother Absurd the Word, I appreciate y'all chiming in tonight. Thank y'all so much, man. Brother Leroy Green, if you're still online, a-ching-a-ling. I'm so dumb. I don't know why I be having so much fun, man, but yeah, man, we keep it colloquial. We have fun. Like I say, if you take yourself too seriously, chances are you're probably insane. So try and stay lucid, try and stay mentally agile, locked in and whatnot, and practice reasoning and honesty. Do everything you can to become just a better and more well-rounded person. That's what I do every day. It's what I pray to be. It's a better person than I was the day before. I appreciate y'all. Much love to you. It's your man. I'm out.